Welcome to another episode of Living Life Podcast, where we have conversations about faith, family, and life. Today, we're talking about the subject of respect, and I have a few questions I want to ask about this subject. But the first one is, how would you define respect, and what does that all encompass? Is this a principle that has been forgotten in our society today compared to maybe previous generations? So let's talk about that a little bit. I'm Ryan Brooks, and as always, I'm with my dad, Boyd Brooks.
So we're talking about the third principle here in our series of podcasts, the principle of respect. And respect, as defined in the dictionary, is the act of giving special attention, consideration to another person or persons. It's the act of holding in high regard, esteeming, or paying deference to someone. It's the idea that every person has this inherent worth, which affects the way we treat them. If we have respect, you're not going to fall into the trap of being prejudicial or treating one person better than another person. This person deserves good treatment, this person doesn't. Everyone has a real inherent worth, but we learn how to treat people because we have respect for them.
What do you think a respectful person looks like?
So a respectful person, as defined by the Bible, has respect for, first of all, their parents, and it's one of the 10 Commandments. Honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land. But also you have respect for so many different areas in life, and that respect that you have for other people in areas of life makes you a very attractive person, absent arrogance and this overwhelming pride. Respect causes us to actually see the value of things and other people.
Yeah, that's actually in the youth ministry. That's actually one of our core values is respect. What does it mean to be worthy of respect?
I recently saw Billy Graham's funeral, watched it, and I saw his children utilize him, each of them giving a eulogy, and it was so moving because you could see the respect they have for him. And about 2 years ago, I lost my father, and so I had an experience that kind of exemplifies this respect. So I flew to California, where my father was, here from Missouri, and he was in the hospital. So there was a cot my sister had placed there. She had been staying with him for several days, and so I took over. So this little cot was over in the corner, and that's where I stayed. So I was there to make sure that if he woke up during the night, I was there to take care of him. I made sure all the nurses and the techs, everyone did their job. Well, one of the doctors came in. It was a really interesting experience. She said, your father must be a very, very special person. And I said, yes, he is. She said, I can see the respect that you have for him. So that respect that I had for him comes because he was a man worthy of my respect. And this is part of what this principle is about, talking about all the different areas that causes us actually to be respected by other people because we earn their respect.
I think both of those men that you mentioned, obviously Billy Graham, who recently passed away, and then, of course, my grandpa, both have a huge respect for them. But one of the things that I was thinking about when it comes to respect is that a lot of times people, they think it's hard to respect somebody that you disagree with, what showed me with even maybe somebody like Billy Graham and his relationship with different presidents, and I'm sure he had different opinion and political opinion and with all those, but they still had this incredible respect for his life and his consistency. And I think that's one of the things about that respect is just consistency and being able to communicate with other people, even if you disagree with them.
That's right. Paul wrote to the Romans, he said, be devoted to one another in brotherly love, honor one another, above yourselves. And even Jesus in his Sermon on the Mount mentioned the golden rule, which is really a rule about respect, when he said, do to others what you would have them do to you. So this really is about respect and how we treat people, people that we know and people that we agree with and people that we don't agree with.
Yeah, without respect, you start treating people like you're better, or like you're higher than them. One question that I had written down too was, where does respect, what role does it play in marriage?
Respect in marriage, it plays an incredible part. Just one verse out of Paul's letter to the Ephesians sums it up. It's Ephesians 5:33. It says, each one of you must love his wife as he loves himself, and his wife must respect her husband. That verse, and there's been a book written on this, very good book, Love and Respect, but it's based on this principle, and that is that wives need to respect their husbands. Husbands need that respect more than anything else, and husbands love their wives. I think that Paul was really writing about the emotional needs of us all. Respect in the marriage for the man comes out in the form of loving his wife unconditionally as Christ loved the church. And for the wife, respecting her husband. It revolutionizes and transforms marriage.
Yeah. So before we kind of wrap this up, is there anything maybe you'd like to share just as we conclude this podcast on this subject of respect?
Well, respect is so much bigger than just the word might indicate. It involves respect of other people's property. A person who has respect, they're not going to be littering or they're not going to be damaging other things. They're actually going to respect their work, the quality of their work. They're going to respect their employer, whether they're being watched or not. And that's exactly what is that's taught to us in the Scripture. So this principle is huge in our lives, and it's kind of forgotten because many parents are not teaching their children to respect them. So then they're not respecting the teachers and the authorities as they grow older, and it's hurting our children. When we teach our children to respect our parental authority, then we're teaching them actually how to live a better life, to understand respect. They need respect so that life is far more meaningful to them. Without respect, life is robbed of its meaning. And then ultimately, it's our respect for God as the highest authority and our creator.
Yeah, you mentioned something about respect kind of in our culture today. I think the television shows and the movies, that's a whole subject in itself, but just sometimes those don't portray respect like maybe they should, especially when it comes in the family life or with the parents. The parents are kind of perceived as somebody that you shouldn't respect. But I think it's important to get back, especially in our culture today. The subject of respect is extremely important, and we need to get back to that. Maybe previous generations maybe had a little bit more, respect.
Yeah, the Old Testament talked about actually rising in the presence of the aged, and many Asian cultures still do this. And in so many ways, we've moved away from very respectful habits in our culture, but it's something that we actually really need to be able to live quality life, to understand the value of respecting each other and even respecting unborn life. This is probably the greatest disrespect, being that example in our culture. So all life is precious to God.
Thanks for listening today to another episode of Living Life. If you have any questions, let us know. And as always, just go to our website, boydbrooks.com, and let us know what you think about this video. Like it, and we'll see you next time. Responsive Parenting, Principles for Raising Connected and Healthy Kids by Boyd Brooks. Available at boydbrooks.com.